Do you think that we're doing enough in the UK in the care sector to make mealtimes meaningful, or do you still think it's seen as sort of a nice extra and not really a vital part of care then?
I mean, there's no doubt that there'll be still pockets of where people are treating it as a task. I think there's absolutely no doubt if we think of the wider care sector. But I do think we're driving in the right direction. From when I started care 15 years ago, and even thinking of example around texture modified foods.
Mm.
Again, 15 years ago, texture modified food would have been brown paste in a bowl that got stirred together.
Yeah.
The carer might not have known what was in that bowl, so you can't
Mm.
describe that to someone. And now we're looking at ways of kind of texture modified food being phenomenal. Some of the stuff that's being produced that looks like the food, tastes like the food. You'll know what the food looks like. So I think we are really driving towards a really positive direction that actually food is so important to people because that takes time. And some of the texture modified food that I know I shared on the LinkedIn post when we originally kind
Yeah.
of connected,
Yeah.
just really phenomenal stuff. So that doesn't happen just by chance. I think there's a culture change that's happening um, with people, and particularly that will be chefs for that example. But that culture change has happened, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Where chefs are actually now starting to recognise they have a part to play in
Yeah.
someone's dementia diagnosis and their time in a care home. They've got a part to play. But I do think we are moving in the right direction. A lot of the work we do through our dining and our training, actually, you see people connecting a lot more. So they actually treat it now less like a task and more like an opportunity. There's no doubt that there's probably pockets across the country, like I've expressed, but I do think we are moving in the right direction. But it takes time. Culture
Yeah.
change takes time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And that's all we can ask for, isn't it? Steps in the right direction, and we'll get there at some point. And then there'll be something else that we need to focus on. So, but as long as we're moving forward, that's the main
yeah,
thing.
yeah, I do think we
So,
are.
so with that, then, what would you love to see rolled out nationally? It might be a pie in the sky thing, but something that every care home could do.
Yeah, this was a really kind of tough one, I think, because again, you'd want a list of a million things, wouldn't you?
You can't have a
Um,
million. We've not got that
yeah,
long.
we can't have a million, but again, and I think I'd draw back to that ability for staff to connect. So if it was a pie in the sky idea, I think I mentioned about a staff member or a volunteer or someone always being present, just to be
Mm,
that kind of connector in a
yeah,
way. So they're at a table every day, they're doing something every day that
yeah,
now encourages that culture where we're with people and we're not doing it to you, that we're doing it with you. So again, if you're eating a curry, I'll come and eat a curry with you. And again, that starts to change our culture where hopefully the staff members now, if they want to break in their sandwich, they'll go and do it at dining time because they can go and
yeah,
sit with someone and
yeah,
start to connect. So I guess that would be probably so important for me. How do we engage people so much better, um, and really start to create a better culture around that? So that would probably be my pie in the sky idea. How do we create more opportunities for people just
yeah.
to do that normal thing of eating together?
I love that new role, the new role of the connector or a volunteer connector that just is
Yeah.
present. I love that.
Yeah.
I like
Someone
that.
just being present, because being present is probably the most important thing in care,
Yeah,
isn't it? Being
yeah,
present and being there with someone
yeah.
to try and help you.
Okay, so finally, then, if you could offer one piece of advice or guidance or support for the listeners that's around dining, maybe, or something else, what would that be?
I think for me, it's probably again probably what I've learned over 15 years is really key. That, and again, we share this a lot through our training. But even though you might not be remembered in those small moments, that presence will be felt. So what you're doing is absolutely making a difference. So they might not remember your name, they might not remember what you've done, but what you've focused on in that small pocket of time will absolutely make the biggest difference. And again, I think when we think about connecting and people engaging through, let's think about dining, even just that small bit of communication, sitting next to someone and just holding their hand and saying,
Mm,
let's do this together. Those small things make the biggest difference to people. And I think
yeah,
that's probably something that we share through my life in dementia. That's how I've gradually learned that just those small moments can make the biggest difference. So that's probably the one piece of advice I'd share. Keep going. You are making a difference. Even though sometimes it doesn't feel like you are, you absolutely are changing just that small moment of time for someone living with dementia.